Hey everyone, let's get our mixed media messy on. So I had this idea to cut some 2-inch strips and have them laying across the page, and then have this black and white photo of my eldest sitting in the bottom left kind of area. And so I decided I picked out these colours of doubling up on this stripe one and doubling up on the pink one, and I'm just working out how they're going to go. I don't want the full length of the 12 by 12, so I will cut them shortly, and I'm looking at how it all comes together. So there's some nice colours in here. I didn't want to use any of the pattern paper with the florals on it because I wasn't looking for that kind of look. So I've gone with the pink and the minty blue. And so I'm just cutting them down here with precise cutting by just lining them up and cutting the long ones. But it works, so it doesn't matter. And I was deciding which order to put them in, and then whether I would keep them whole or whether I'd cut them into like fringing the sides of them. I was going to say tassel, but it's not a tassel at all. And here's where I totally change and pull out the pinks and decide to go with the blues. So I've cut some more of the blue stripey, and then the blue, or mint, I guess it's probably a minty colour. Just the normal mixed media paper. And so I've got them stuck together here with a binder clip, and I'm just cutting them in wide fringe kind of fashion. I did try with some thinner cuts where the cuts were closer together, but it wasn't a good look because the cuts were too small for the scale of the page. So instead I've cut them in these bigger ones, and it's going to look really awesome. So just putting the binder clip away, and then I'm going to work out the position of them and have a play with them that way. So you can see I've just literally got the 2 pattern papers. I'll use the pink strips that I cut up another time. It's not a problem at all. So I'm just going with it here and having that kind of a look. And I pull out my sewing machine and I sew them. So full disclosure, I sew them this way. So it's the left of the page across to the right, and realize that you should actually sew them right to left, because then you're overlapping them and you're not, the sewing machine can easily go up and down without getting in the way of the fringed part. So I'm doing 2 strips of straight stitching, adding a bit of extra thread ends to each side to like the top and the bottom of the tassel-y part or fringe paper. And then I'm going to end up skipping forward a little bit, and we'll see the end product. So this one I actually put to the side because I realized after sewing 2 that it's just too hard to sew with them being underneath the previous one. It's easier to sew them, and then the next one you put over top and you sew, and that way they're not in the way. So so sewing them just with my sewing machine, just on normal straight stitch, nothing fancy, just normal cotton, white cotton, and I'm just doing 2 strips of stitching on each page. So you can't really see the stitching from the previous strip of paper because it's covered by the next one, but you can see the ends, and you can see a little bit of it when I ruffle up the fringe parts. So sometimes it's like mixed media, sometimes things are covered up and not seen in its entirety, and sometimes you can see a lot more of it. So as normal, cutting off the excess thread from the stitching. I shouldn't say as normal, because sometimes I like to keep it and have that grunge look to it, but today it didn't need the extra thread, so it's coming off on the top and then on the bottom. Now normally I would use some washi tape and stick down on this side where the back end of the stitching, but I just wasn't thinking, so I haven't done it. But before I put it away in my album, I will do that just so that the stitching doesn't unravel. So easy as that, just pushing up the tassels and having fun with it. Isn't that cool? So already you can see the texture going on, and this photo just looks so cute the scale works really nicely, and I just love the way it's happening. So I've decided to add some mixed media. Now, I did debate whether I should have done this before I stitched them down, but after doing it, I realized that and I do test it on this previous page and let it dry and make sure it's the color that I'm thinking and wanting. Now, so like I was saying, I would do the mixed media first, but the reason it works so well doing it this time is that I can overlap it on top of the pattern paper, but also I got it in the position where I want it to be. So without tracing around the edges and then having to be so precise when I stitch them down on top of the mixed media, this way it looks like I've done the whole background behind the fringed strips, but I haven't. As you can see, I'm just overlapping it as such, or underlapping, if that's even, no, it's not a word, so I don't know why I'm asking if it's even a word. Just putting it under there so that it looks like it's cohesively part of it. Now I'm going down the side, so I'll do this left side, I'll also do the right side, just so that it joins and makes it cohesive. And then I do go not just under where the pattern paper or next to it, but I just go over a little bit every now and then as well to make it blend in. So you can see here on top of the pattern paper, just so that it's not just one dimension and then the strips of paper on top and they've got no correlation at all. So I'm going to go around each of the edges here and just add some of this paint. So this is the acrylic paint that we got from Kaiser Craft in the mixed media kit for October, and it came with some stencils and a pink was it? Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's a pink paint as well. So I've just watered it down a little bit with some water, and it just has that right consistency to flow. Really like the way it's attaching to the page. It's really nice. So just going to finish it off on the tops and the bottoms here, and then down the right hand side. I literally just looked at my hands to see if it was left or right. Some of those habits, you can't live without them. Learn them in primary school and they just help you for life. So you can see here it's a very monotone layout. I do end up adding some black, which makes it pop it very well and tie in with the photo. So I've just added some of the plain acrylic paint. There was a little tiny bit of the watered down bit on the mat, and that just gives it that good consistency. It doesn't need much water, if at all any water, for being able to flick onto the page like this. It's really fun. The closer you get to the page, the bigger the stripes are as such, like the length of and then sometimes you get some good big dollops doing that way, and then the further away you get from the page, the more sprinkly it can be. So it's fun to just have a play with that and do a bit of each. So I cleaned that all up, I've let it dry, used my heat gun a bit, and I'm going to add my photo and my title. Now, because we have this vertical look, I thought I'd add a title going up one of the strips of the paper, and it didn't take me long to land on the word captured. One, because it works, but also to the blackness of the title, but also because of the length of the title. It's just a good size to take up that strip. So a lot of the layout today was about size and how it related to the rest of the things on the page. It's very interesting to be thinking about it in hindsight now that I've edited and now I'm doing the voiceover, that this was something that really influenced my decisions. So this does say captured. I haven't spread out the U properly after the T. I have done that now, but I haven't retaken a photo or anything like that. But I'm sure you can imagine that it says captured, not captard, because that's not a word. So my photo is going to go up on some foam tape, just 3 little strips is plenty, and I'm going to work out the exact positioning of it. So I did wonder if it should be closer to the title or just here underneath that strip. And I do settle on more towards the right, just so that it has that bit of space between the title and the photo, but then also has that good it just sits well. I don't know why I'm going on and on, because there's not so much that I can say about it, because it just works. So going through the embellishments now, I don't go through everything. I don't even touch the die cuts, I'm pretty sure. Oh yeah, I try, yeah. So I've got a little banner sticker here, perfect colour. Try it up there. I do move it in a moment and build just the one cluster really. So the cluster, and then we have the title with its own little sprinkle cluster part going on. So I've got the tiny words here that say "You are amazing," and I'm going to put that banner there. It just adds that dimension to this cluster. And I pull out these beautiful tassels, and they're just perfect to tie in with the fringe, but they're the perfect colour. And I do end up pulling out the white one as well and putting 2 on this layout. So it feels so decadent to put 2 of these 3D embellishments, because they are not many at all in the kit, and I wanted to hoard them, but instead I behaved and used them. So on goes that love heart. They were from the thicker set, and I don't know if I said, but hopefully you're still listening. But this is a Kitaholic October kit, but it's full of the Cocoa Vanilla Studio Unforgettable collection that came out, and it's really lovely to play with. There is some other goodies that we get to match with the collection as well, but that is what it's based on. So I've pulled out this camera die cut, and it's pink in the middle, and I thought I could live with that, but once I put it on the page, it just was standing out like a sore thumb, and I just was like, nope, that's not right. So then I was like, hey, I can fix this problem. Let me add some colour to it, and we'll be all hunky-dory. But I try a gel pen, which is too light of a blue. I try a paint pen, which seems to be dried out, but I don't know if you noticed, I put it straight back in the pen container. And then thirdly, I use some of the acrylic paint, which works. It does give the right colour, but then I decide it's just not right for the vertical design and what is going on. So off it comes. On goes this second tassel, and I'm going to play with the enamel dots. So it's just really the last couple of finishing touches to the layout now. So adding some of these of the blue or the mint and the white enamel dots. I pull out some of these love hearts, so some of the teal, it's not teal, some of the minty blue love hearts, and I'm just going to add some of the love hearts to the end of the word captured, and then some also to the cluster there on with the photo. So this one's really cute. It's a black outline heart, so we're swapping them over and moving the blue one down below, and that's just going to work really well. On it goes. Yay. And not much left. One more thing after the enamel dots up here, because I didn't think I was going to put anything up here until I put those hearts. So needed to reach back for the enamel dots, and then I'm going, oh sorry, my bad, 2 things. So first I'm going to use some black ink to add some ink splatters, just in a diagonal going across, but not heavy in the middle. More heavy towards the top left and bottom right. And I don't mind if it goes on the tassels a little. And then lastly, I'm just going to add the tiniest bit of journaling here under the photo, just because there's a little bit of trapped space between the embellishment and the fringing and the photo. So just a sentence, just simply down here, and that's going to be the layout for the day. So hopefully you've enjoyed this mixed media messy layout, which is probably very mild in the mixed media world. But hopefully you've enjoyed the look and are loving what's been happening with the October kits. I'll catch you next time, guys. Bye.